Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Chinese Tier 7 Premium Light Tank, the Dragon Type 62. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Type 62, or the Dragon. What's it like as a light tank? Well, it's okay. It's just one of those Tier 7 tanks that is okay. It's got decent alpha for a light tank at 180, so it's sort of above average, but not at some of the other tanks like a Ramrod, for example. It's got 240, although the Ramrod is an exception rather than the rule, I'd say. Its mobility is 60 kilometers an hour, which is it feels a little bit slow for a light tank at times, but it still gets about the battlefield decently enough. It's got no armor, naturally, as it is a light tank. Your camo is pretty decent. You can get that down to about 264 meters of steel concealment. The one thing that annoys me about this vehicle is that it does like getting set on fire. It does set on fire quite often, which can be pain. And the fact that it's got 5 degrees of gun depression could also be a hindrance, just like it is on quite a few other Soviet-esque vehicles. And yeah, the gun handling at times as well also can be a bit frustrating on the Dragon Type 62. It's one of those guns that can just sit there and go, you know what, today is not your day, and I'm going to miss all that you ever want to hit, which can be just a little bit annoying. But generally, like I say, the DPM is pretty decent. You've got a 4.01 second reload, which is 2.7k DPM with the build that I run, which is pretty nice. You've got 0.3 accuracy at 100 meters with the build that I run, which isn't too bad. It's fairly accurate. You've got 2.22 accuracy during movement and 1.18 accuracy during rotation, which isn't very good, which means this gun does bloom out quite a lot. The aim circle does become rather large. And because you've got a 2.12 second aim time, you do feel that aim time with how large the aim circle becomes. Now, you could make that better by running the gun stabilizer, but as I am a light tank, I do sacrifice the gun stabilizer to have a better camo, so that I can passive scout if I want to in bushes and not get spotted as easily. And that means that I can get to an aggressive position where I might not be able to without the camo net, and I can just have the time to aim because I'm unspotted, right? It gives me that opportunity to do that, but also be able to spot for myself if I want to do that. You've got 145 penetration on the standard AP, which is a little bit low and does struggle against tier... there's quite a few tier 8s it does struggle against, and most tier 9s it really will struggle against with 145. And you've got 220 heat pen, which is... it's decent. You can go through a lot of the tier 8s. The tier 9s, again, you do start to struggle with at that point. But and as well as that, because it's heat, if you're starting to go through a lot of the side plates of people, you also struggle with that because heat just gets absorbed, which can be a bit of a pain for the Dragon Type 62. This is one of those tanks that you've really got to work quite hard to get the most out of, and it might not be the everyday light tank for most people. It can be a bit frustrating, but you can, like I say, have a decent time with it, because you've got view range on this vehicle of 499 meters of view range with the build that I run, which is good. It means you'll spot a good amount of tanks at good distances, and mixed in with that 264 meters of steel concealment, you'll be able to outspot people at good distances and play that light tank scout pretty decently. You do have 880 hit points, which is not too many to play with, which means that, yeah, especially in the tier 8 matchup or a tier 9 matchup, it basically means you'll probably get 2-shot by a lot of the vehicles you'll face, which can be a bit frustrating, but yeah. You've got that 60 km an hour top speed, like I say, with the 23 km an hour reverse speed, 20.48 horsepower per ton ratio, which means that you do hit that top speed. As I say, it's 60 kph, so it does feel a little bit slow at times, as opposed to a few of the other light tanks that do speed along a lot faster. And you have a 12% internal fire chance, which, again, can be a wee bit frustrating on the vehicle. Even though that's quite low a fire chance, it does like setting on fire. And you also have a 140% silver bonus, which is not too bad, actually, for a Tier 7 premium tank, but it doesn't make the best silver in the universe. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on this vehicle? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Advanced Loader, the Camo Net, Optics. Optics to get the 499 meters of view range, the Camo Net to get down to 264 meters of steel concealment, and the Advanced Loader to get that 2.7k DPM. All 3 gun perks to make sure that the accuracy during rotation and movement is as low as possible, so that I don't have to run the gun stabilizer, which is still something that you might want to consider running instead of the camo net or something like that, because the gun can be derpy, but it's down to you and how you want to play the vehicle, with the camouflage expertise and muffled shot to reduce the camo while firing and just make the camo generally better on this vehicle. As you can see, we finished the first game with the 3.1k damage. The first class, Confederate, the 1823 base XP, a pretty damn decent game there for the Dragon Type 62 in a tier 8 game on White Park, which is not the best map for the Dragon Type 62 as well, especially since you have 5 degrees gun depression, which can be pretty awkward. But it does make the the shell velocity not matter as much because of the distances that you are engaging at. Because the shell velocity is a big reason as to why this gun does feel derpy at times as well, as it is 793 meters a second shell velocity on each of the 3 rounds on this tank, which can be pretty frustrating, and you just miss shots and you sit there going, oh, gun, come on, you know? And it tends to make shells loop a little bit when you're shooting them. That means, again, they do hit armor plates at weird angles sometimes that just causes a ricochet where other tanks might not because they've got better shell velocity. So we're on to the second game, and the second game we're here on this map, which is Sunset Coast. And on Sunset Coast, again, we're in a pretty not a nice matchup for the vehicle. There's no tier 9s, but there's a lot of tier 8s. And we're going to have a pretty damn decent game. So we're taking the spotting position here at E5. If you do poke out around this corner, like I've just done here, you can spot the people like the type T-34-3. It's not a type T-34-3, it's a T-34-3. It is a T-34-3, but not a type. Anyway, brain, English, hard. It's what it is. But yeah, we did spot that T-34-3. We spotted the KV-3 as well. And from this position, we can spot people also like that Oni, which is what we did. Because he fired, we ended up spotting him up. And now, we've actually got him tracked. He got retracked by the artillery. 145 pen is going to struggle with an Oni. But if you aim for that drive wheel on the outside, it's actually pretty weak and fairly easy to track and pen. And as you're seeing here, we actually managed to get this guy perma-tracked, but we do fire and find that we're not penning anymore, so he must have moved off. We do manage to get another pen in, but we get spotted, and I'm like, okay, not doing that. He knows where we are. There's no point in risking it. But we can maybe get a shot into our unskinned variant, the Type 62. So we get one shot into the side of the Type 62. He gets tracked in a position that we can't quite find a shot at him. So we're going to see if we can maneuver to get a shot in, but it's not happening. We're very alone in this position at E5, and I'm very, very aware of that. And I'm worried that something might show up behind me. But I'm not going to worry about that too much until it's basically too late, which is why I'm facing down this little cliff, because I can face down here and run away if I need to. We're just waiting for the IS-2 to possibly back up that ricochet. Oh, God. Why? Why RNG? That was quite the ricochet. It went to the moon! As we didn't hit the whole side of the IS-2, we hit his engine deck at a funny angle and the AP round ricocheted. Which is, yeah, part of the derpiness of this gun, right? Because we had the whole side fully aimed at the side and it went to the tippy top of the reticle, engine deck ricochet. RNG, it's a cruel mistress. But now we're deciding to risk it for a biscuit. Nothing has attacked us behind. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to push to their side. I'm going to push to E7 and see if we can get any shots at their team that might be camping. We managed to get a cheeky shot into the IS-2 without getting spotted. And you did see me knock the tree down and then pull back behind it. And that was for the concealment factor so that it was... I basically wasn't going to get spotted. And I was actually quite surprised I didn't get spotted killing that Oni there, but it is what it is. There's now a Panther crossing behind us, and it's like, Mr. Panther, where have you been in this game? Okay, we're going to come for you. There's me and this Shashka chasing after him. The Panther is full-on YOLOing, and we're just going to see if we can try and get any damage on him before anyone else in my team gets him. He is like, yeah, I'm fine. We managed to set him on fire with a shot to the rear, and that fire finishes him off. We're up to 2.3k damage. Artillery is looking at us at this current moment in time. I'm like, why me, Artie? Are the guys at H65 not spotted? Oh boy, we're not wanting to take the hit. Thankfully, artillery hasn't shot at us. And we're going back up into the position at E7. Because possibly we could spot people like the IS-2, for example. Or get some shots into the rear of that KV-3. So you can see I'm using the concealment to the best of my ability here. So that if we use this concealment, that IS-2 is never going to spot us as we farm him up. And thankfully our shot flies true. He takes a hit and we finish him off. We've now got shots into the rear of the KV-3. And just as I was going for that, we end up spotting the KV-4 KTTS. Finish him off with a snapshot, and we get very lucky that that KV-3 did not penetrate us there. But also, he's very lucky to have hit us with that 122mm gun. He does end up hitting us that time and penning us, but he snapped that shot over the ridgeline straight in, which is just sod's law, because RNG with that 122mm gun that's a Soviet gun, should not, they don't hit those. But it is what it is. We managed to get a shot into the M12. Unfortunately, we didn't quite finish him off before before our arty did. And now we've got a free farm into the back of the KV3. And with our 220 heat pen, we're going to go through the back of this guy, because that is one thing that the Type 62 does suffer from, and that is ammunition problems. It's quite often the case that you can run out of ammunition in this tank, so be very, very careful of that. It's why we run the ammunition that we do in 25, 20, and 2. Don't really run too many of the HE rounds, so that I can make sure that if I do run out of run out of AP or heat, that I'm not going to suffer too badly for carrying too many HE rounds. But yeah, there's only 4 vehicles left. We're going to see if we can try and get into a position to get a rear shot into this KV3 to secure the top gun. And thankfully, it flies true, finishes off the KV3, and we get our 6th kill of the game. There's only 3 tanks left on the team, and I'm thinking, ooh, possibility of a Radley's maybe? So we're coming up for the shot into the SU-130 PM, but sadly, he decides to go forwards and the Shashka finishes him off. We've got heat loaded, which will go through the stock STRVS-1. Sadly, he manages to turn around to get a shot into us. We hit the wrong spot on the start, which means the heat round doesn't go through. But we get round the Stark, and hopefully we'll get the finishing shot in, which we do. And good night, Mr. Stark STRVS-1. We finished the game with a really nice total there for the Dragon Type 62, showing you how you kind of want to play it. You want to play it on the periphery as that support tank, not really be in the... It's that pseudo-medium tank again. That's what this vehicle is. And you finish with the high caliber, the ace tanker, the devastator medal, 2.5k base XP. A really fantastic game there for the Dragon Type 62. And yeah, you want to play it like that pseudo-medium tank, because it's not really an out-and-out light tank. It can do the light tanky things, but if you were to go get stuck in against other light tanks, it's going to end badly for you very quickly. So yeah, play it as that medium tank where you support role, and you'll have a pretty decent time with the Type 62. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success.